Week 3 is here. NFL Pick'em, you with your boy Justin Henry, Prabhat Parmar there on the other side, throwing up gang sign. Yiddy. But we got to make these picks, man. A slate of 15 games. We are not doing the Thursday night game. We're going to keep this thing on the weekends for the most part, unless you see some minor changes here and there. That's how we going to do it, man. P, last week, you know what I'm saying? There are a couple upsets, bro. You called one of them, major upset. You got that Pats pick, bro. But other than that, your boy made more correct picks. I won last week. 9 out of the 15 games I got. You got 8 out of the 15 games. How you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. You know, that's 8. You got me by 1, but that ain't gonna happen this time, man. You know, it's funny because last week it's like we were both like, yo, Minnesota got us, but
man.
You know, I mean, I just couldn't go against the grain, baby. I couldn't do it, man. You know what I'm saying? So
it sucks when you do that too. When you got a good feel for a game, or you feel like something gonna happen, but you just don't got like it's not even a confidence. It's just like that's a bold ass thing to say. Like Minnesota finna win this against a really good Niners team, and they did, man, just flat out. It's kind of like your New England pick. You know, it's like you had a really good hunch, but to say bad team is going to beat a good team is hard to do when to pick them. But that's the nature of football. We got to pick this shit out, no matter who it is. That's our job, bro. So we got a full slate. We got 2 Monday night games too, by the way, this week. So let's get this thing started, bro. Let's start off in Cleveland, man. We got the Giants and the Cleveland Browns, and the Browns are favored in this one by 6.5. So the Giants coming off a game where, you know, you go and you don't score a touchdown with the way that, or no, they got beat. They got beat by a team that didn't score a touchdown. They're the first team in the modern era, I think, to score 18 points and lose the game. So like that, lose a game without any touchdowns being scored. So curious to see how the Giants play against a very tough Cleveland unit, man. Who you got in this one?
I got Cleveland to win outright. You know, I don't think Cleveland's been playing like that Cleveland brand of football, at least on the defensive side. I think they turn it up here. You know, this entire season's been kind of off to start. And I was thinking about it, and somebody made a comment about like how they shorted the preseason from 4 to 3 games, and a lot of starters ain't been playing. So these first few weeks have really been kind of like a preseason, and that's how I see it playing out. You know, we got more field goals and touchdowns. So I think the NFL gets it back on track now. We can start to see a little bit more regularity and a little bit more predictability moving forward. So. I like Cleveland at home. I think that defense turns out. It's really not hard to game plan against the Giants. So, you know, even at 6.5, I see them covering.
Yeah, this Giants offense just isn't good. It's just really I think we know what the defense is, even though we haven't seen really consistency out of it. I think we kind of know what this defense is. It's the offense. That's really the big question. It's like, is Deshaun Watson there or is he not there? Like, I think hopefully we don't see as much inconsistency as we have out of this Cleveland offense that we have the first weeks of the year. But David Njoku being out for this team, obviously the Giants are just not the powerhouse even keep up offensively. So I think Cleveland wins this game. I don't think it's particularly close. Like you said, I think the 6.5, I probably would, you know, kind of reminds me, honestly, sputtering offense going up against a team who played decent. Reminds me of the Thursday night game we just had, the Jets and the Patriots, where team at home, this not in prime time, but team at home, better defense. They come in and show out. Like, I think the Giants struggle on this one.
Yeah, I can see that.
Moving on. We got to have some better games in this, bro, because that can't be the cream of the crop. We got Green Bay and Tennessee. Potentially no Jordan Love in this game. There's some reports out there that he's practicing, which he is, but that he's questionable and potentially on track to play this week. Other reports out there are that he's probably going to sit this game and come back next week in week 4. But either way, we get to see Jordan Love on the football field a lot earlier than we thought. Tennessee is favored by 2.5 points going up against, like I said, potentially Malik Willis starting at quarterback this week. And Green Bay coming off a really strong win against the Indianapolis Colts, who I think both you and I picked them to lose that game, right? Yeah, going into Tennessee, who's 0-2 on the year. Who are you looking at in this one?
You know, it's if Jordan Love plays, I'm taking Green Bay. If it's Malik, it's a lot closer. Now, when you look at this Tennessee team, what stands out is horrible QB play so far, right? You see, you know, and that going up against a a Green Bay defense who can, is really good in the secondary, right? So,
right.
But what they don't see, and a lot of people don't see out of Tennessee, is like a strong, stout. I think this is going to be one of the top defenses in the league,
Agreed.
maybe like a top 7 defense. And they got a really good running game, right? So I can see this. If Jordan Love is playing, I'm going to go Green Bay. But I'm also, if he's not playing, I think I'm going to go Tennessee. I think their defense is just a little bit more solid. I think we can see some mistakes coming out of Malik. And I think their running game is better than advertised. So if they can control the clock, if they can cut down on the turnovers, the mistakes, I could see Tennessee pulling this one out.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, to me, this is probably on the slate. This is one of the harder games for me to do a pick 'em with, because you mentioned Malik Willis maybe making a turnover. Like, he's played pretty clean football here in his time as a starter. Like, last week, it was efficient with the throwing. I think he only had 2-3 incompletions last week, ran the ball when he needed to. They trusted the run game. I think they're going to take the ball out of his hands. And this is kind of a revenge game for Malik Willis, who, Tennessee gave up on his ass. They're like, yo, we don't even want you on the team anymore. And now potentially, like, this could be revenge on Malik Willis's mind going back to Tennessee. So the only saving grace here is, I think, Tennessee being 0-2. This is as must win as it gets for them with that defense. The only caveat here is Will Levis, bro. Like, is he going to be on his knees with his hand behind his back? Is he going to be throwing backwards passes? Like, we haven't seen Will Levis play a clean game yet. So it's like, that's the part that's concerning. It's not really the Green Bay side. I expect them to be drive the ball, score, drive the ball, field goal. Like, we kind of know they're going to be around 16 to 20 points. What the fuck is Tennessee going to be? That's the biggest question there. And that's the one I have the most concern about. I would love to take Tennessee here in a bounce back spot. I think I'm going to take Green Bay on the road. And I think I was a little too in on Tennessee to start the year. I don't know. Against the Jets, against the Bears, both L's, I'm kind of on Green Bay here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that the Colts last week, their defense isn't as good as advertised, and on top of that, they lost DeForest Buckner, which is really like the heart and soul of that running game, that running defense rather. And Green Bay really had their way, and then again, that stingy defense that they had kind of had A-Rich on the fritz, so it made it really in Green Bay's favor. I don't see the same thing here. I don't see it being as easy for Malik Willis. Revenge game, whatever you want to call it for him. I don't know. I don't see it.
Maybe revenge game for Malik Willis don't seem right.
It don't seem right, man. It don't seem right. I mean, like I said, if games this close are won in the trenches, because I feel like it's shaky quarterback play on both ends. I feel they have good skill positional players on each offense. But I mean, as much as I think that this is a statement game for Will Levis. He's gonna have to do something, or else they're gonna look at alternatives at QB, because the coach is calling him out in the in the pressers and whatnot, saying, "Hey, he did this last year. He did it again. He can't be fucking up like that." Will Levis got to do something. He got to show something. But I don't know. I have faith. I can't turn my back on him just yet.
Yeah, 2 games. I'm just like, I'll wait for him to show me at this point. I'll take Green Bay. They just look cleaner. I don't know. Like I said, it's one of the harder games for me to pick on the board, because on paper I want to say Tennessee. Like, everything in me says Tennessee. This just kind of screams Green Bay to me. All right, moving on to the Bears and the Colts. This should be a fun one, actually. Anthony Richardson, Caleb Williams. You get to see 2 of the younger quarterbacks in the game going at it. 43.5 points on the board here. I'll start this one. Chicago, to me, obviously coming off a bad loss in Houston last week. They just haven't looked the part. Strong win week 1 against the Tennessee Titans, where the offense hasn't looked good, though. You know what I'm saying? It's been led by the defense and special teams. And then last week kind of got obliterated. So I think this is a good bounce back spot for Chicago. And this is also a tougher matchup for me, but I'm still going to go with the Colts here, even down to DeForest Buckner. I'm going to go Colts here. I think that they bounce back in a bigger way. The one thing we haven't seen is this Bears offense look any resemblance of, like, this is elite. And Keenan Allen's going to be out again this week. I'm going with the Colts, and I think they're getting back a key weapon here in Josh Downs, who can help out this passing attack. I'll roll with the Colts on this one.
Okay, so I'm going with I'm going with Chicago on this one. One thing about Chicago is they got a good defense, right? They look like they can confuse quarterbacks who don't have as much experience, and that's Anthony Richardson. Right. On the other hand, where Chicago's obviously where their weakness is the offensive line. With DeForest Buckner out, I don't see Indy really being that big of a threat to disrupt that offensive line as much as it has been the last 2 weeks against the Texans and Tennessee. So I actually think it's going to be a better game for that Chicago offense, accompanied with that defense that can trick people. I'm taking Chicago. I think Chicago has an actual good offensive day against Indy. So give me Chicago.
I'm not mad at that. And defense obviously is a lot better. That offensive line's got some work. Indy's offensive line ain't terrible. Bad. Yeah,
no, Indy's offensive line's not bad, but Chicago's is terrible.
But I can see Jonathan Taylor got benched in that fourth quarter last game too. I could see him coming out and having a little bit on his mind about some, you know what I'm saying, some little get back there like, fuck you, coach. You put me in the fucking game. So, all right.
What do you think about?
So we split on the last two. Houston at Minnesota.
Ooh. Houston hey, look, it's only 1.5 too.
On the road, this is one of them. I wouldn't necessarily call it a trap game because Houston coming off of they're coming off of a night win, and then Minnesota coming off of kind of a bigger win against a Niners team here at home. 1.5 underdogs. Who you liking this one, P?
Oh, you're giving it to me, huh? Okay, I'll do this.
I'll take this one too. Then.
I got it. Hey, listen. Call me crazy, but give me Minnesota. And it's not really that crazy with it only being one. Yeah, that's right. Give me crazy. Minnesota, bro. I like what Brian Flores is doing over there on that defense. I like what he's doing specifically in that secondary, man. It's confusing quarterbacks. They bring crazy blitzes. They're stunting on that defensive line. And, I mean, yeah, as good as Houston is, and as many weapons as Houston has, and as good as Stroud is, I think that Miami can control the ball with just their creative offensive playing call. I've been talking about Darnold all offseason, and he's adequate. You know, he does have an arm, and he can run. So I like Minnesota. I like Minnesota mainly because of their defense. And we got a healthy Justin Jefferson. You know, nothing serious with his injury. So, you know what? I'm smashing Minnesota.
I can see this being the sharp play. I can see like the Sharps playing Minnesota side because it's not the sexy name. It's Houston is supposed to be AFC champions this year and win the division and look the part. So I can see Minnesota being the sharp play here. And there's probably should be more of a pick 'em than a 1.5 point spread. So I can see that. I also see this being a tough game against a Brian Flores defense that's playing really well right now. But the problem is, I think they played two teams. They played the Niners, who obviously George Kittle was in that game, left that game, came back. They had a strong lead on the Niners either way. But Justin Jefferson banged up a little bit now. We got the Houston defense is going to be able to key in. No Jordan Addison this game. Like, to me, I think that's the separator here is, does the Minnesota offense able to keep pace with the Houston defense the same way the Houston offense is going to be able to keep up with Minnesota? The player that's going to hurt this team for if Houston does lose this game is because they can't run the football effectively. Cam Akers has to be able to come in and produce at some level to keep the ground game going because Joe Mixon's probably going to miss this game. Dameon Pierce is for sure out this game. So Cam Akers will be the difference. We keep talking about this revenge factor, and I know I ain't trying, you know what I'm saying? I ain't going to abuse it. I'm abusing it a little bit right now. But obviously played for Minnesota last year who let him go after he suffered his injury. So I got Houston, and I think this is a game that will be tight. I'm not thinking, oh, Houston's just big and bad. I think this will be a tight game. You talked about it a lot, made some really good points. I agree with you. I just think they're the stronger team overall. Even on the road, I trust Houston to get it done.
Let's see him do it, man. Let's see him do it. But, yeah, I got to rock with men, baby.
I ain't mad at it. Philly going into New Orleans, the hottest team in football right now, coming off of 2 strong wins for the Saints. Philly dealing with some injuries. A.J. Brown expected to be out again this game. So dealing with an injury there. Obviously, this team has been led by both of these teams have been led by their running back play this year, Saquon Barkley and Alvin Kamara. And for me, when I look at this game, I look at the Saints kind of being disrespected right now. You know, everybody thinks it's a fluke. Everybody thinks it can't happen. But I still, if it's just a pure pick 'em, I'm going with Philly. I think they're the better football team even now. And I know New Orleans is playing well. I think Philly's the better football team. I think if I was playing the points though, and I told you how I take the points with the team I think is going to win. I would probably take the points here with New Orleans. So I think this is going to be one of those tight games, man. And you know, I probably, if I was betting money, I would stay away from this game and just sit back and watch. I think it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, you think Philly's a better team. I think the fact that A.J. Brown is out really changes this team. It makes them a little bit more easy to guard. You know, we've seen Jalen Hurts start to run a little bit more because they need that. They need that third real source of, you know, getting these yards, right? But one thing that's underrated, as good as NO's offense has been playing under that in that Kubiak system, their defense ain't no punk either, bro. Their defense is not no punk. I don't know. Is Lattimore playing?
I think Lattimore, that's another thing too. We got to see his availability because he was out last week. That would be a big addition for the Saints team if he's back. I want to say he was on track to play this week, but I didn't play it as like he's playing. I kind of assume he's going to be out. But I think they say he's on track to play this week.
Well, let's see if Marshawn Lattimore, if he plays this week, they're saying he's
Uh-oh, did I lose you completely?
Yeah, with Marshawn Lattimore back when he plays, because he's expected to play, it's gonna make them, you know, it's gonna make them a little bit more one-dimensional, right? Marshawn Lattimore covering their number one receiver. A.J. Brown's out, so he's gonna be on Smitty. I think that this is, you know, I don't think that they're going to be able to keep up with NO, right? I don't think that they're going to be able to keep up because NO can run the rock now. You know what I'm saying? That they could run the rock and they could pick their shots, because one thing that's suspect in Philly is that secondary, man. It's not as good. It's not as good as advertised. You know, we seen Kyle pick that in what 60 seconds or whatever it was, 120 seconds. He had no timeouts. He picked them apart, went across that whole field and scored a touchdown on Darius Slay. So I really think that
Kirk Cousins, Drake London.
Yeah. What did I say, Kyle? I kept thinking Kyle Pitts. I know that's your dog, but yeah, man. Hey, excuse me, man. Me and the names, baby. They sometimes. But I'm gonna tell you,
on your ass in the Discord too, brother. Names, bro.
What's up with me not knowing these names? Hey, man. Hey, I may not know the names, but I know the game, baby. Hey, that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to tell you like this. NO, if you're giving me 3 with NO, I'm smashing that. But I think NO is taking this without the points. They're just a clean win.
Even if Lattimore comes back, it's like we get Devontae Smith a lot of times out of the slot. We saw what they were doing with like Brayton Covey last week. It was a lot of short shit. Like they're not trying to go deep. So the one thing I can say about Philly, and I think this attack, is that New Orleans, for everything that they are offensively this season and they've been defensively this season, they ain't seen a player like Saquon Barkley yet. They haven't. They faced Chuba Hubbard and Ezekiel Elliott in back-to-back weeks. They're going to get all the Saquon Barkley they can handle. So I hear you on the New Orleans side. I think they've been playing well, and I think this will probably be one of the better sharp bets too. Like I think a lot of the sharp money will probably be on New Orleans, rightfully so. But I think this is a Philly bounce back spot. Like I said, I'm taking Philly if I wanted the points. So I think this is a good spot to get the points for New Orleans. I got Philly though.
What about the over-under? What do you think on that?
I mean, with the way New Orleans is playing right now, how can you do anything? So it comes at a game plan cost. What do you think the game plan from these teams is going to be? When I look at Philly, obviously Jalen Hurts is using his legs a little bit more, and we talked about the attack. I think Saquon is going to have to be the dog that keeps this thing going. I don't see a lot of deep shots on Philly's side. So I think if Philly wins, this goes under. If New Orleans wins, oh, shit.
Yeah, I really don't think Philly scores more than like 17 points in this game, bro. I don't. Really? I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Saquon, just like you're saying. I think Hurts is going to get off. I don't think like I could see Smith having like, somewhere 50, 60 yards, something like that, picking and choosing. But I think they're going to have a hard time because without AJ Brown, again, and a defense like this, I'm going to emphasize this, they're not that hard to game plan against. They just ain't. And the fact that they got a young defensive line on Philly, their secondary is a little overrated. With those creative run schemes in NO, I think that it's really going to be them chewing the clock. They're going to be getting like 4 or 5 yards a clip on them, bro. So,
they're going to need the Philly offense is going to need somebody else. They're going to need a Dallas Goedert to step up. Somebody else to step up in this offense, man. All right, moving on to the lowest scoring game on the board as of right now, the Chargers and the Steelers. This is ugly, bro. 35 points is like atrocious. And I think this number has gone even down since I have this. I want to say it's at 34.5 right now. Not a lot of scoring here. Justin Herbert dealing with an ankle injury. And we know the Steelers will just literally run the football and not throw it at all to win a game. They'll do anything. 34.5 points on the board. I'll take this one to start off, and I think there's a ton of respect goes out to Jim Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, both winning coaches. And I think Jim Harbaugh, we've seen he brought winning football to this team. But I'm going to go, they played the Raiders, they played the Panthers, and the Steelers to me are just a different trajectory than both of those teams. And we know Mike Tomlin, I just think the weapons are here. If Justin Herbert is fully healthy and not limited, it seems like that ankle is a high ankle, like it's really going to limit him. Maybe I'm thinking differently about this. I'm going to go Pittsburgh here. And I believe in his defense. I believe in his defensive line. And I think Justin Fields, with the way he's playing football right now, is enough to win a football game and not lose it, which works perfectly with what Pittsburgh tries to do. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this one. And I think coming off of a win against the Panthers last week, the Chargers coming off a win against the Panthers, they might be a little overrated just based off of their initial play.
Yeah, this is honestly one of the toughest games going back and forth with it. Low scoring, I can completely understand that. Both well-coached teams, just like you said. Jesus Christ. I want to go back to who I picked, because I may even just go back and change my answer again, but
well, what are you looking at here? Obviously, this is, there's not – one of the things with low-scoring games which makes it tough, and we talked about this a little bit with the Giants and Cleveland, it's with low-scoring games, it literally depends on, one thing happening in the game that changes the complete outlook. Like for Green Bay, Tennessee, if Will Levis steps up, we're talking about Tennessee should be favored. If he makes the one mistake, that ruins the game. Here with 35 points on the board, this is 17-14 territory, 20-17 territory. There's just not a lot of room for error, and both teams really don't make mistakes. So what's kind of got you at the spot where you're like, damn, I don't know who to pick?
Because I see both teams kind of flawed, right? And both of them well coached. I think that Harbaugh has got something going on with this running game, that offensive line, but they're going up against a really stout defense, right? I love Pittsburgh's defense this year. Teams can't really do much on them. They're opportunistic. They stop the run. So it's really two young teams that are underappreciated and, trying to find out where the X factor is going to be. Right. And for me, the reason why I'm picking the Chargers is because I just think that they have smarter, wiser quarterback play from a humbled Justin Herbert. And it's tough, but I'm going with the Chargers, bro. I'm going with the Chargers. I think that they can find a way they can really pick their spots because the Chargers defense ain't that bad, but the Steelers offense is kind of minimal. It's we're going to stack the box and we're going to have Justin Fields, who you're saying is hobbled. We're going to see if he could beat us with the arm. And
Justin Herbert we've got a battle of Justin quarterbacks. Justin Herbert's the one dealing with the ankle injury, which is tough. Justin Herbert is. And so with Fields, he hasn't. The thing is with him, we're so used to seeing him in Chicago, run the rock a lot. He hasn't had to do that. And
No,
it's
he
like they don't
hasn't.
want him to do that. They want him just like hand the fucking ball off, throw where we tell you to throw, and only use your legs when you absolutely need to and slide and like get down. Like it's a whole different Justin Fields than we saw in Chicago.
Yeah, but would you trust that? Like, would you trust him being like, a shell of himself? He's not like, we're going to take the electricity out of Justin Fields and we're going to see what it happens, like what you can do with it. Right. So he hasn't shown that this season that he can consistently put up points. And I just think that I just think LA is going to be a little, it's a little bit more over the top. So, like I said, it's a tough one.
On this one. Last thought on this one for me is we know somebody else is waiting in the wings, Russell Wilson. And I think the one thing that Justin Fields has shown is that he can lead this team to a win. The one thing he has not shown yet is that he is the starter on this football team, no doubt. And if he's going to do it, he's going to have to do it in Justin Fields fashion. This would be a perfect game to do it.
It's kind of like a revenge on his own team. A revenge on the quarterback.
A revenge. Stretching that fucking revenge. Damn.
Nah, I don't think
too
so,
much already. I said revenge too, but there ain't no revenge there, obviously.
Yeah, there's no revenge, but there's he got some shit to play for.
Yeah, he do. Denver and Tampa. Really, this 7 is a little disrespectful to me because I think this Denver defense is nice. At least Patrick Surtain.
Oh,
is nice.
Okay.
He's nice. Denver at Tampa, and Denver held it close week 1 against Seattle. And then we saw Bo Nix play a little bit better last week, like through the passing game. But Tampa has come out and looked like one of the better teams this season. I wouldn't have expected, even at home, I think that I wouldn't have expected a -7. It seems kind of high for a Tampa Bay team who, I think we always think of them as a middling team, but this is a team that went deep in the playoffs last year, had at least got a playoff win last year, like had an opportunity, was kind of knocking down the door of the NFC Championship. So I think Tampa here, P, I'll give this one to you first. I took the last one. I think Tampa here has the framework of a very good football team, and Denver is still struggling a lot. Who you got in this one?
So you said the 7 is a little disrespectful towards Denver?
I think so. I think it's a little high.
Okay. Yeah, I see them winning by like 10 or more. I don't think it's high at all. I think that Denver is offensively, they can't do much, and defensively, all they really have is Patrick Surtain. So I think I see a huge game from Godwin again, out of the slot. Maybe struggling with Mike Evans a little bit, but I think this is the easiest pick 'em. Give me Tampa.
So the reason why I say I think it's disrespectful is because I think the 7 is just a little high for a team that like has kept it close both weeks they played. Like Seattle, they had a chance to win it, and Seattle took over at the end. And then last week against Pittsburgh, they lose by 7. They just didn't score enough points, right? Like Pittsburgh defense. I don't think the Tampa Bay defense presents the same problems as either the Seattle defense or the Steelers defense. So I think that's why I say it's disrespectful. If it was closer to like 5.5, 5, I think I'd feel a little bit better about it. But either way, I think Tampa wins this game. I think we're talking about semantics here. I think Tampa wins this game, and I don't think there's a world where I think the reason why the points feel disrespectful is because I feel like it should be tighter. I just don't know how they win this game.
Yeah, just really quick on Denver. That Seattle game wasn't really as close as the box score made it look. Seattle was really dogging them, and then they let up the gas, and then Denver came back at the end.
I mean, they couldn't get out their fucking own end zone.
Who?
Seattle.
Man, I hate Seattle, bro, but it is what it is. But no, I mean, it's we talk too much about them. Fucking Denver.
Move on. Yeah, sometimes it's easier to keep it pushing, especially a game like that. Another game like that we probably got to keep it pushing on is this Carolina and Raiders game. Two teams that, I mean, these are, I don't know. Maybe the Raiders play better than we hope, but Carolina obviously making some major changes. No Bryce Young anymore. They've decided to bench him, and he's even said he is open to a trade. So we'll see what that looks like for Bryce Young and his future. But Andy Dalton expected to start this week. And I think this team is just looking for some life, any sign of life to get a win here. So I'll be against a Raiders team that's kind of a little Jekyll and Hyde-ish to me right now. I think at times we can see elements of this thing looking good, and this is Jekyll and Hyde within the same game, because then at times they look like a team that's like what the fuck are they doing out there? So I think the one area that the Raiders have to establish is the run game. They have to get that going so it opens things up for Devontae Adams, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, makes things easier for Minshew. If they're able to do that against a team that's down a defensive lineman right now, I can see them winning this game at home. I like the Raiders in this one. I don't really see a way Carolina wins, even if they're more competitive. I'm giving this one to the Raiders. And this has all the makings of a one that's like somehow the Panthers win this shit.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm saying you got that feeling. You got to talk about it, man. I think that this is a trap game actually for the Raiders. Raiders, they embody their coach, right? It looks like they play stout defense. They're grinding games out. I think Andy Dalton breathes life into the pass catchers and into this offense in general. I think it's sneaky. And I really think that Carolina pulls it out somehow. This is one of those ones that, it's just more of a hunch. I'm going more for Andy Dalton and seeing some of those pass catchers, like I said, come alive and just some rhythm to that offense, some just life in that offense. And I'm curious to see what that looks like. They got a good offensive play caller. Let's see those plays happen. So. I think the Raiders can get caught by surprise, and I think I'm going out on a limb and taking Carolina.
The one thing I'll say that you're kind of spot on is I don't know if the Raiders are a good enough team to where they should be 5.5-point favorites almost against anybody. It's just Carolina is that bad to me. So I'm just thinking is there obviously Derek Brown? He went on IR, right? Derek Brown, I'm pretty sure he went IR. That's a big loss for this Carolina team, right? Who's already not a defensive juggernaut. They were decent defensively last year, but they're not a defensive juggernaut. So if they can't stop anybody on the ground game, we seen last week, J.K. Dobbins went crazy on him. Alvin Kamara went crazy on him. And Zamir White go crazy. I'm bro, maybe it's just they got problems on that D-line. So I don't know. I can see what you're talking about. I'm just not balls enough. I don't got the balls to take Carolina. So shout out to you, bro.
Hey, man. Somebody got to have them.
Call it what you want to call it. I'll let you be him. I'll let you be right. I hope you're right on that one. Miami, Seattle. Skylar Thompson, your favorite quarterback, is going to be starting for the Miami Dolphins now. Going up against Geno Smith. Who you got in this one?
All right. We split a lot of them, huh?
We split a lot this week. We only got 2 of the same picks so far.
Okay. With this one, I'm going to go with, you know what? Give me Seattle, man. Give me Seattle. I do not believe in Skylar Thompson whatsoever. If he's going to do anything, it's going to surprise me. But I think really this entire offense takes a step back. And I like what Seattle's actually doing on offense because Miami's defense with Vic Fangio, with some of those big names that they have in the secondary, I don't think that they're playing up to par. They don't look good the first 2 weeks defensively. And Seattle's offense, on the other hand, is they're playing decent. They're playing pretty well. So I like Seattle at home as well. So yeah, give me Seattle, man. Give me Seattle.
Yeah, I think the only thing is, it kind of seems like there's a new defense there in Miami. And it seems like they're trying to play a little bit better. Like we saw them play tight against Jacksonville early in the year, and then the Bills game kind of got out of hand after the Tua injury. So, I'm pretty sure there's a different coordinator there, but it doesn't matter at the same time because I think that this Seattle team also has different coaching in place now, and they've been playing better. The one thing I haven't seen from Seattle though is they have a completely different, they haven't had a hard schedule yet. Their schedule has been New England and Denver? Is it? Those are the 2 games they played. They haven't played a good quarterback yet, and so now you're going to play another bad quarterback, so to speak, in Skylar Thompson, but a good offense. So I understand why this total is low, 41.5. I understand that. I'm going to go with Seattle here. I'm worried that Miami just does not look the same without Tua. It just looks like a completely different offense. I'm really concerned about that. I'm going to go Seattle with you.
Let's get it.
Moving on to Baltimore and Dallas. And this one, 48.5 points, P. 48.5 points, a lot of points here on the board. Baltimore and Dallas both kind of in must-win situations, it feels like. Even for Dallas, who has a win, it just still feels like this is a must-win game for them coming off of a bad loss to the Saints last week. Baltimore 0-2. Nobody expected him to be there. At home for Dallas, I'll be honest with you, this is a hard pick against Dallas, but I think Baltimore is the more hungry team here. They cannot go 0-3 more than Dallas can go 1-2. I just think that when I look at what they have, you have to evaluate their process so far. So far, they've been trying to play their offense through Isaiah Likely and Zay Flowers. It hasn't worked. The key to this is going to be the run game. And especially if you want to neutralize a pass rush with Micah Parsons there, you've got to go through Derrick Henry. You've got to go through Justice Hill. You've got to go through Lamar Jackson. It has to be through the run game. I think they slow this thing down. I think we see some shots downfield to my boy Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar. I can see some shots downfield after bringing the defense in a lot. For me, I got Baltimore in this one, even though they're favored. I got Baltimore in this one to beat Dallas.
Yeah, I like it. This is probably going to be the best game this week, right?
No, we got better.
We got some better ones? Okay, cool. Because the ones we had so far, what we talked about so far, damn, I was like, what kind of week 3 is this?
It's up there, though. This is up there.
Yeah, this is a good one. Now, I will say this. Baltimore plays to their competition, right? And we seen them getting a dogfight with the Raiders of all teams, and then take the L. We see them come very, very close to tying that game up against KC. But one thing that Baltimore does consistently is beat up on the NFC. They whoop on the NFC. So give me Baltimore. Dallas, you're going 1-2. Baltimore's going 1-2. And yeah, I mean, I see a real breakout. I see the game we wanted to see coming from Derrick Henry. I see that traditional stiff arm, 30-yard plus run touchdown in the fourth quarter coming. Give me Baltimore all day.
We've been asking for this Derrick Henry game, and maybe this is just a mistaken identity. Like, this team went from Greg Roman and John Harbaugh, like this pound run football team, and now they went to this Todd Monken offense last year, try to make Lamar a passer in the playoffs. Like, I think they kind of have an identity crisis. They want to become a passing team, but didn't address the receiver position this offseason. They want to be a passing team, but then you sign Derrick Henry. Like, I think they kind of just have an identity crisis right now. Lamar, you want to be a passer, but you also lost weight so you could run more. Like, I don't understand the offense right now. You go and you like, hey, we want to feature Isaiah Likely on the social media page, like you mentioned. You want to feature Isaiah Likely, but we still got Mark Andrews. Like, we're going to hype up Rashad Bateman, but we take Zay Flowers in the first round. We're going to give him 10 targets a game. I have no clue what this – we have 2 co-starters, Derrick Henry and Justice Hill. One week we're going to use Justice Hill. The next week we're not. Derrick Henry, like, we don't sign Derrick Henry to give him 30 carries, and why the fuck did you sign him? Like, I just feel like there's a lot of questions identity-wise with Baltimore, but I think one thing is true with this team, and that they know how to run the football. And if you're going to beat Dallas, one of the best ways to do that is by running the football down their mouth.
Control that clock, man. It makes a lot of sense. You got two tight ends. I mean, running out of that 2 tight end set makes a lot of sense because they can also go out the pass. So it makes them a little bit more unpredictable, but I think it's just a matter of them not playing the starters in preseason. And I think it's a matter of, a lot of like new faces on that team, and they just have to gel, and I see it coming this week.
No Jake Ferguson for Dallas. Marlon Humphrey on Dallas.
No, Ferguson's playing. Ferguson's playing.
Ferguson's back? I thought he wasn't playing.
No, he's full practice. They took him off. Yeah, they took him off the injury. Yeah, he's in there.
Back to Ferguson. Shit.
Let's get it.
Both of us taking the L because of that. Ferguson, 3 touchdowns for Jake.
Hey, I made sure to pick him up, man. I seen he was dropped. I was like, let me go ahead and get that.
Time. Niners going into LA to play the Rams, 7.5-point favorites in LA. Me and you know what I'm saying? Niner fans, we kind of struggling right now, bro. Coming off a bad loss to Minnesota, losing Christian McCaffrey to IR early in the year. Deebo Samuel said he is going to be out for a few weeks. George Kittle dealing with the hamstring injury. He will now be out. Offensively, man, a lot of holes for us. But we can only start to imagine the pain that the Los Angeles Rams are feeling right now, missing damn near the whole line, two of their best options on offense. Are you going against the Niners on this one, bro? So we can move on with this one pretty quickly.
Listen, Levi South is what they call it playing in LA. 65% of those people are gonna be Niner fans. We don't have Kittle, we don't have Debo, we don't have CMC. We do have an offensive line that will bully this defensive line in the LA Rams. You know, give me the Niners, baby. Give me the Niners.
This might be the quickest one we have in division game. Anything can happen.
You think it's going to be 7.5 though?
I don't know, man. The thing is, we just don't know how bad this line's going to be for the Rams. Like, that's the question. Without Cooper Kupp and without Puka Nacua, how bad is shit going to get for the Rams? So I think in order for the Rams to hit this line, it would definitely need to be an under. That secondary would need to be playing better, but Tre'Davious White just got cooked last week by Marvin. And I know Brandon's going, you know what I'm saying? Brandon's going to have his way. So that's the only problem I see with the Rams right now. They defensively, they can't stop the run. I don't know. I don't really see a way the Rams keep it close. The only way is if, for whatever reason, we come out unprepared and the Rams are able to run the football and slow us down. I think we win this game comfortably by 7.5.
Give it to me. I'll take it.
Next up, a much better game. This is going to be a better game than advertised. This Detroit-Arizona game. 52.5 points on the board, so projected to be the highest scoring matchup of the week. When I look at Detroit, bro, I'm like, obviously this is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. They need to be in that picture. Arizona playing a little out of body to me. Close loss against Buffalo, and then last week demolished a Rams team that's obviously reeling. So I think Detroit, even on the road, goes in and handles business and shows why they are at top of class. Last week, we didn't see Jared Goff play. I would say he played a decent game last week. But I think we could also see Jared Goff play really well. This game is indoors, so if you're wondering, like on the road, Jared Goff plays well indoors. And I think defensively, this team can figure some things out too. So I got Detroit in this one. I don't see a world where Arizona wins.
Yeah, I think the biggest like where you want to see the advantage is Arizona has, you know, I mean they were passing on the Rams, but the Rams don't really have anybody. But Arizona has been really having a really good run game. They're not going to have that good of a run game against Detroit. Detroit's going to be able to keep and maintain pace. I think offensively, Detroit's going to be able to do what they want, right? Starting off with the run, they're going to be able to run all over them, and that's obviously going to open up the pass. It's going to cause nightmares for Arizona. So you could give Arizona the 3 points. I still think Detroit takes it. They're just going to outclass them.
Yeah, this 52 points total. I don't think this is indicative of like both teams. I would hope this is a better game. Like I think it has potential for that. But I could also see this being like a 40-point game for Detroit. Like Detroit having one of them games where they score 40 points, like Jahmyr Gibbs is cooking. We see Sam Laporta get involved, like a D-bomb to J-Mo. Just everything kind of locked and loaded. Yeah, I could see this being one of them mega games from Detroit, even on the road here against an Arizona team, like I said, that put it on the Rams last week. So,
yeah.
Both of you and I, okay, so we both agree on that one as well. And then here we go. We are into the Sunday night football game. This shit look crazy to me. I don't know why. I feel like this game is setting up to be just like the game was against Philly, man. Kansas City at Atlanta. This Atlanta defense obviously is we were hyping it up with the additions of Matthew Judon Simmons. It's been exposed a little bit. They were able to get the job done last week. But Kansas City, this defense has been playing well this year as well. And obviously Trent McDuffie, big part of the reason why they're doing that. Chris Jones, they have some good weapons over there. Spagnuolo's running really a tight ship right now on the road in Atlanta in prime time. You know, P, last time Atlanta was a underdog in prime time, I picked them to win. It didn't look good until the last drive. I am picking Atlanta to win again against Kansas City in prime time on Sunday Night Football and beat Pat Mahomes. That's how I got it.
Well, listen, one thing I like about Atlanta, it seems like that week one and then that the first half of week 2, it seems like they just didn't have it going. They weren't gelling until the end of that game. We're seeing a heavy dose of Bijan, which really looks like the heart and soul of that team. But with that being said, we're going to differ here, bro. KC, I think, is just too much. Not necessarily offensively, because I think that Atlanta's defensively matches up well. I like Atlanta's secondary. Oh, and then Pacheco's out, so it's like, what about their running game? Ooh, this one, yeah. If anything, I'm taking the under on this one. I'll take the under.
For the defenses?
I'm taking the under. I just think that KC's that interior pass rush is going to be a little too much for a Kirk Cousins who is not as mobile. And I mean, that 3.5 may be something now, but
yeah.
Ooh, this is a lot. No, I think this is a lot better. But I'm taking KC.
This is gonna be a good game, I think.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. I'm a rock with KC just to differ.
So I don't think it's a bad pick. I just think this is one of those games where it's probably going to come down to the last possession. And obviously Kirk in prime time is going to be the narrative yet again. Can he get it done? He did it last week and it took a last second score. But Mahomes as well. Mahomes is when I think about what Mahomes is able to do, it's one of those things where the passing game is opened up now that Pacheco's out. So at the end of the day, I think he'll be good. He'll be effective. But this Atlanta Falcons offense and his Atlanta Falcons defense, I think they present a little bit of problems. So I love this game right now. Love this game like NBA. But for now, I'm gonna go.
But yeah, I think that this is I think this is a game where we're gonna see a lot of Kittle. We're gonna see a lot of Kittle in this one. So
you mean Kyle Pitts or Kelsey?
Kelsey, damn, Kittle, Kyle, Kelsey. I'm getting cooked. But yeah, I see this is a bounce back game for Kelsey. And listen, a lot of people, just a quick fantasy bit, a lot of people selling low. A lot of people panicking on Kelsey. Now's the time to get him before this game, bruh. Trust.
Yeah, I think this is, if you're talking about, we were expecting a Kelsey bounce back game. Atlanta's kind of giving up some yardage to tight ends too. But I think it's just going to be a fun football game overall, man. This is one of the games I'm hyped for. I'm not going to lie. So I don't know about fireworks. The 46 points seems about right to me. That seems about right. I just hope for a good football game out of these two.
Hope so.
2 Monday Night Football games this week. Jacksonville headed to Buffalo. Buffalo is 5.5-point favorites. And this game, P, we talk about that 5.5. You picked against it earlier, right? With what team was it you picked the 5.5? I want to say it was Carolina in the Raiders. I think they were 5.5-point favorites. Yeah. And here we go. Jacksonville at Buffalo, man. Who you got in this one?
I'm going to go with Buffalo. I'm going to go with Buffalo. I think that I like what they're doing defensively, right? I like how they're making teams have to, they changed their entire way. It seems like they're they're forcing teams to run on them just by that. They're running that nickel, dropping everybody back, forcing teams to beat them via the run. I don't think Jacksonville's all
band too deep. Too deep. Like, what the fuck is that, bro?
I don't know, but I mean, they're winning, bro. And on the other hand, Buffalo can run the rock. They're running the rock. Not just James Cook, but as Josh Allen. I think that, and they're at home. Yeah, give me Buffalo. And I don't, I'm not thinking twice on this one. Oh, you thinking twice, huh?
Yeah, because I'm doing it. I'm doing it the same way you did it. I'm doing it, man. And me and you, we got to play for something of the season long thing. Me and you, we have to put something on this at some point. I know we will. We always do. But Trevor Lawrence bounce back game is happening at some point. It is, and I don't know if it's this game, but I'm taking my chances against this Buffalo unit who has played well, but they've also against Arizona. Arizona kind of played them to the end. They had an opportunity to win that game there at the end. Miami was not playing the best football, but Tua goes down and was giving them opportunities. It's not like we just saw explosive play after play in this passing game from Buffalo. It was like they got beat by the ground game, right? And Jacksonville was dealing with a couple new pieces here on their defense. It's not great, but I could see a stronger performance in You know, we could throw the same way I was throwing the revenge game out there earlier, must-win situation for Jacksonville coming off of 2 bad losses. Like, this is a good spot for them. So I think I'm going with Jacksonville in this one. It was specifically with the points. I would love the 5.5 points here. But if we're going to pick them, I'm still going to take Jacksonville. I think we see Trevor Lawrence bounce back in a way. He's had a lot of shade thrown at us over these first 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's had some shade. Their coach being on, talk to their coach being on the hot seat. So
Peterson, yeah,
Peterson. I don't know, bro. I think those hot seats going to get a lot more hotter after this week.
Damn, cold world. Last Monday Night Football game, we got Washington at Cincinnati. The Commanders going into Cincinnati, 7.5-point favorites. I see a lot of points on the board for a team that may or may not have T. Higgins. I'm going to go Cincinnati here. I think this is pretty easy for me. And I see a mega game out of Ja'Marr Chase this week. Out of this secondary is atrocious. He's given up mega games in back-to-back weeks. Sometimes it's just another person's turn. You know what I'm saying? To go in. So next man up.
He's just they've taken turns on this secondary.
Next man up. Ja'Marr Chase is going to go in. I think we see the Cincinnati Bengals offense look like we've seen it looking past, and it's going to get ugly on this game. Give me the Bengals on this one.
Yeah, I'm not that far behind you. I'm taking the Bengals just to make it short and sweet. But I will tell you this. T. Higgins is practicing. He's limited. I think they're going to suit him up for Monday night. Well, what a way to make a comeback under the lights. You know what I'm saying?
At home, they need him too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, because this team can't go 0-3. This team cannot go 0-3. So a bad loss week 1, terrible loss week 1. A close one in week 2, but yeah, I think that they're going to come out. The 7.5 ain't going to do them justice. I think that they're going to they're going to show up and show the fuck out. So I like T. Higgins coming back. Ja'Marr Chase. In fact, I got him for the low too in a league, bro. I got him for the low. And he sent it to me. He sent me Ja'Marr Chase for Nico Collins, a second, and then a 2027 first.
They feeding into that Nico Collins hype, bro.
Bruh, they are, bruh. I counter back with Nico in 2 seconds, and he was like, fuck it, just Nico and just the 2027 first. And I was like, man, give me 2 years to come up with another first? Yeah, give me Ja'Marr Chase, baby. Give me Ja'Marr Chase all day.
Bro.
Yeah.
Shout out to you for getting Ja'Marr Chase, man. Bounce back game on the way here, but that does it for the picks. We will count them up. Me and P disagreed on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we disagreed on 8 games, and we agreed on 7. So we gonna have a little battle this week, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hopefully, y'all found some value out of the picks. We'll be back next week to continue this. We'll see you on the next one.
All right, peace out.
Stop.